Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Move podcast. Talking about stage 15 of the 2023 Tour de France, as it is every day this summer. Today's show brought to you by Ketone IQ. We'll talk a little bit about that later. I'll also give you an update on how our friend Michael did on the mountain bike ride, which was pretty fun. Alain, talking about stage 15, where did we go?
Stage 15, Léger, les Portes du Soleil, to Saint-Gervais-Mont-Blanc. Léger, les Portes du Soleil, to Saint-Gervais-Mont-Blanc.
That's it. That is it. What a fantastic victory by Wout Poels, a guy who's been around. I mean, it depends what you believe. I was looking at his stats. He's 35 years old. He's been a pro since. If you look at pro cycling stats, been a pro. I don't know if that was on a semi-pro team since 2006. He's had a hell of a career. He won Liège-Bastogne-Liège. He was on Sky, helped them win 4 tours. What a cool way. And we'll have a cool clip from him later that sort of made our day. But in the meantime, we're sitting here talking about bike racing, and George is actually over there at his iPad watching the Wimbledon final.
I shut it off. It's an amazing final right now.
Two great athletes.
Yeah.
But I do have a question, because you look a little tired. Did you sleep okay last night?
I slept amazing, like a baby.
You did. I mean, of course, it's easy when you don't have any stress in your life.
Excuse me, stress? I've been working for you for the last, 30 years. But my friends at the feed sent me this new magnesium drink called Pillar, and I've been drinking it every night before I go to bed.
And you think it's working?
Absolutely works.
Was it that pineapple coconut drink that I sipped on the other day?
Yeah.
It actually tasted pretty good, because sometimes anything with magnesium doesn't taste that good.
Yeah, it actually tastes great, and it's only $1 per night.
I mean, I'm not as cheap as you, but $1 a night, I mean, that's a damn good deal.
Check it out. They're from Australia, and our friends at the feed discovered them, and now they're exclusive retailer of Pillar.
So if you want to sleep stress-free like George and like my wife, head on over to thefeed.com/themove and get 20% off Pillar. Use the code THEMOVE. Again, thefeed.com/themove and use the code THEMOVE. Also today brought to you by Speedplay. I've been riding Speedplays since 2012 now. I started riding them once I retired from cycling and went back to doing tries professionally. I was doing all the 70.3s. I thought it was a great aero solution for me. I thought it was great also for the transition from bike to run. And I've been on them ever since. By the way, also, it's the Speedplay Aero is proven to help you save minutes in a Gran Fondo distance. Like at the Hincapie Fondo, I will be minutes ahead because I'm riding these pedals.
Wait, so is this the official announcement? You're coming to the Do you guys hear that?
We're working on it.
Is that a commitment?
We're working on it. Speedplay also has a range of options for every rider, including with power on the PowerLink pedal. Like I said, this has been my pedal of choice for 12 years. Special offer for our listeners. If you go to wahoofitness.com/themove, you get 20% off all full price products during the tour. Use the code THEMOVE over at wahoofitness.com/themove. And that was a partial announcement.
Partial, okay.
Partial announcement.
Not a fully committed announcement.
50-50.
50-50.
Well, it was the battle of the Wouts, right? Wout Poels and Wout van Aert. And George, of course, went on the betting app and did the real time. I mean, hard to bet against Wout van Aert. I know I talked about him yesterday. I still think pound for pound, he's the best bike rider in the world, but something's off. A guy like Wout van Aert.
I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. And honestly, I just don't understand. Am I not understanding race tactics anymore, Spencer? Like,
none of us are.
If you're in the yellow jersey and you make the breakaway, you don't have to work. Or you have to work very little. It's not your responsibility. Why do you need more than 7-8 minutes before the final climb? Like, just float it. Go to the front and float the wheels. If you are, in fact, going for the stage win, why are you doing more work than everybody else? Am I off here in this thinking or what?
No, I didn't understand that at all. It looked like he was trying to maximize his TSS score or something. Yeah. Like, it was just like, I'm worried I'm going to be out of shape for the time trials. So.
Yeah, I actually texted Johan. And I'm like, Johan, what is he doing? He said, this guy doesn't appear to ever, run out of energy. He's always at the front. Yeah. But still, you're there. Obviously, Wout Poels was super strong, but give yourself a chance. If you're not feeling great, you don't need to work that much in a breakaway, especially if you have the leader of the race on your team.
Yeah, I think it's in his DNA. I mean, we all, whether it's you're competing in any level or you're on your weekly group ride, there's always that guy that he just hammers, right? Well, Wout van Aert just...
Well, and everybody in the peloton looks at him and expects him to pull, and he will do it.
But it was an amazing win. I was going down the list, or actually Spencer was helping me go down the list. It's been a good tour for 4 teams, right? Two stage victories each for Bahrain, Cofidis, UAE, and Ineos. And another one for... Wait, what? Who does Wout Poels ride for?
Bahrain.
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 And Wout Poels, of course, acknowledged Gino Mater in his post-race interview, which was very special. And obviously these guys are riding inspired and cool to see the old guys. I mean, we talk a lot about the 20-somethings, early 20s, and it's cool to see these old farts still being able to do it.
Well, and that, especially after multiple years working for somebody else.
Yeah.
On Sky, he was a workhorse, and now he just gets this glory.
And he's had not that many wins, but some big ones. Stage in the Tour de France now, Liège-Bastogne-Liège in 2016. So, I mean, he's had quite the career.
He's the second veteran of that Sky Train, like the famous Sky Train, to win a stage of this tour. I kind of thought those guys were past their best by dates, perhaps, but I kind of wonder if just how hard the race has been. Like Johan was telling me, Jumbo's pacing at 5.5 watts per kilo, like pacing at on the climbs yesterday. Final climb, 6 watts per kilo. That's before attacks. I think that's helping the older guys who have just so much in their legs over the years.
Could not agree more.
And harder on younger guys like Pidcock.
I think so, yeah.
And not only that, those older guys obviously have more Grand Tour experience. They know when and where they can save energy. And if they are, in fact, just going for stage wins, why suffer it out for top 20, top 30 in a climb when you can sit back, save some energy, and go for a day like you did today?
We got a little validation also from Wout Poels. We were watching his post-race interview, and we've talked about this for years, but we call people pannenkoekens. We call them pannenkoekens. Of course, we're probably saying that wrong, and clearly by what Wout Poels said in his post-race interview, we are saying it wrong. But we've tried to help people understand what a pannenkoeken is. It's just a pack filler, right? It's a kind of a. But in his post-race interview, and good job, JB, you picked it up. But here's what he had to say about Wout van Aert.
I started to believe only in the last kilometer, and I just had to keep fighting because, in the Netherlands we say Wout van Aert is no pannenkoek, so I had to go full gas, and it's amazing.
Well, and there's a lot of things you can call Wout van Aert. Pannenkoek is not one of them, or a pannenkoeken. That was look at that. How about that validation?
I also felt for Wout Poels, like here he gets this solo victory, and it barely made it on TV because of the GC battle. It's like he could have, when he gets to post up like that and soak it up, and it was on TV for a second.
It's like somebody in the control room forgot. They had the cameras, and the control room was so focused on the GC guys. I mean, they flipped back, and I think we caught like a second or two of Wout Poels crossing the finish line.
Well, that GC battle, it's basically, stalemate. They're just sitting there watching each other, letting guys like Rodriguez claw back in, letting guys like Yates get away. That was really interesting when Pogačar sat up, let him get up the road. I kind of liked that tactic.
I agree.
And I think we'll probably see more of that because he's clearly not able to drop him right now.
Right. And I'm with you, George. I think that was a good tactic. We sort of wondered how Pogačar looked today. That's a great tactic. If your plan is to make an attack on Vingegaard and try to get up to Yates and have some help once you get up there, these two teams are just so dominant, right? When that group got down to 7 or 8 guys, each team had 3 guys in there. David WEDÖ was hanging on for a second. Rodriguez was still there. What I just still don't understand, and I thought Jumbo rode a pretty smart race before that. Let UAE carry the race. Let them set the tempo. Sit behind them. I've been talking about this for a week. It is really important. If you think they're going to attack you and they are behind in the GC, it is their responsibility. And yet again, we saw Jonas Vingegaard get in front of Tadej Pogačar and just like his head was on a swivel. He just kept looking back, waiting for it. If you're that concerned, I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. I sound like a broken record. Just go to the back and look what happened. Now, he was able to cover the move, but it changes the whole dynamic of the attack and certainly makes your effort a lot easier if you're behind him and you're watching him attack.
You might see a gear shift.
Or
right?
if you're behind him, he won't attack. Mm-hmm. If you're that worried and you're looking back that much, just get behind him.
But there was a tactical advantage, which having Adam Yates up there. So technically, Jonas couldn't give the guy 2 minutes. I mean, there was still a couple K to go. If you let the guy get 2-3 minutes, and all of a sudden now he's a threat for the first and second spot as well. So they're using their cards pretty.
It wouldn't have changed anything if he would have just pulled over and just moved back behind Pogačar.
Well, I think Pogačar just would have sat up.
Pogačar
Should we
did that.
pump the brakes on the Yates as a threat? Like, did you see how fast they closed that gap?
Yeah,
like,
I know. But if you're going to give him time, then all of a sudden he's clawed his way back in. He's certainly a threat for third place now. So it just depends on how much UAE will give him freedom to go for that third place spot. But he's climbing the third place right now. He's climbing better than anybody except for Pogačar and Vingegaard.
What do you think? What is Vingegaard hearing in his radio? So like if Lance was the director, to be screaming at him, get to the back. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are they telling him that, or is this just a preference thing? Like they just can't change his mind. He wants to be in front of Pogačar.
I don't know. Johan is the greatest director of all time. It'd be a great question for him. If I were the director, and keep in mind, the directors in the cars are also watching the race. They're getting the television feed, so they're seeing all this. I just say, hey, just go, let him go around you. Get on his wheel, and you'll either, like I said, you'll either neutralize his attack, or you're going to see it as clear as day. It's going to be a lot easier for you.
It's not that much different. I mean, if he's in front of the guy or behind the guy, he knows he's going to attack. He's ready for the attack. That's why he keeps looking back. If he was behind him, it's the same thing. Pogačar is going to attack. My guess is if he sat up and went behind Pogačar would have sat up and track standed.
When we talk about Paris-Roubaix,
yeah.
Do I sit here and tell you how the race should be ridden and things, little tricks, little tricks to how you get over the cobbles and how you position yourself for cobbles and all this? Do I do that? No.
Yes, you have.
No.
You actually called Johan Brunel in 2004 when it was raining and told him to tell me to take my leg warmers off. So you're going to sit there and tell me you don't tell me what to do, Roubaix? You actually do.
No, but I'm saying in the analysis on the episodes of the Move. Listen, I've been here. I know what I'm doing, despite what some think. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this GC stuff.
Okay, so you're with Basso or you're with Ulrich, and it's just you two. What are you doing? You're usually riding at tempo, or you're not always sitting behind the guy. I've seen it many times.
Okay, it's a great question, and let me give you the answer. And let me tell you the difference. Those riders, as great as they were, and as much as I feared them on so many levels, they were different than Pogačar. Pogačar is explosive. Those guys could not make a run at you and start sprinting twice as fast as whoever is there is riding tempo
gap you in a
and
second.
Gap you off. Those guys could never do that.
Pantani could.
But listen, he's a different rider, a guy who is that explosive, and clearly Vingegaard's worried about him because he keeps looking back. Take that out of it. Don't let him make a run at you. Stop looking back. That's stressful in and of itself.
Should we send Vingegaard a little mirror? He could be the one guy in the peloton.
That would be something.
Let me rephrase the question. Okay, it's you and Ulrich, and all of a sudden Ulrich lets Kloden go up the road because it's a similar situation where Kloden was always there fighting for top three. You're just going to sit behind Ulrich and let Kloden get a couple minutes? Absolutely not.
Adam Yates is 5 minutes and 40 seconds behind.
So you would have sat up?
Absolutely.
I'm asking you. Okay.
I would not.
And Johan would have let you sit up?
Absolutely. That is not a concern at all. Okay. 5 minutes and 40
Johan,
seconds.
can you chime in? Because I'm curious to see what you would say.
Wait, didn't he chase down Kloden for no reason?
Yeah, he's, of course.
5 minutes and 40 seconds. And there wasn't that much left in the stage. Even if you let him get out there, that they were running out of road. Right? He's not going to get that much time. So I am right about this, I believe.
I wonder, like, Jumbo's the ultimate propeller head team. Like, these guys,
Says you.
They're pretty big dorks, maybe even bigger than I am. I kind of wonder if, like, JB and I were debating whether to tell you this or not. Like, there's a strategic consultant for Jumbo who's never raced before who, like, maps out their strategy.
Really?
Yeah. And we thought that might work you up too much. But I wonder if they have him in front, because, like, if you just mathematically crunch the numbers, like, well, you have a head start. He attacks you, but you're 2 meters in front of him, so you can respond easier.
Thank you.
I wonder
and guys like
that,
they have eyes in the back of their head. I still don't agree that there's not that much of a difference if he's coming from behind. Right. I'm with you, Spencer.
I don't know if I agree with it, but I think that they maybe have something internally that says that.
I think everybody listening to the show is on my side. I can feel like one of the chakras or something, because I've been doing all this stuff with whatever the chakra is that tells me what everybody else is thinking. They're all on my side.
And how about just the mental game of Jonas just rolling up beside him at the end? He just keeps sending him a message of like, you're not going to drop me.
Well,
That was a total mental battle there. Even though Pogačar still won the sprint pretty easily, but Jonas wanted to make a point and show him that he's still there and he can still sprint to the finish line. Had some left in the tank.
Okay, well, let's go back to what we've been saying the other days. I think if this is around, in my opinion, if this is around in a boxing match, I think this one was a draw.
Yeah.
Do you think Pogačar not being able to gap Jonas for the first time this tour, is that like a momentum swing? Or
I think so. Because he went full gas. He waited his clear intention. Make Adam Yates go hard, sit up, wait, and do like a 1 kilometer full gas attack to get 5-6 seconds again. And he didn't even come close. I mean, Jonas was right on that wheel. I feel like today there was a bit of a momentum swing. He didn't lose any time. He was there, stayed on the wheel. I think maybe it was in favor of Jonas today, maybe 1 point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was a little surprised UAE didn't pace this down and try to go for the stage win, because you need time at some point. Maybe they have a ton of confidence in the time trial. We'll talk about that later, though. It seemed like this is the moment to win the stage, get a 4-second, delta, and then crunch the gap, take it in the time trial.
Were there time bonuses at the finish?
Yeah. So
there was? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it would be like the only stage in the last 5 years not to have time bonuses.
Then probably not.
And then also, I do wonder what would have happened if Jumbo, they got taken down by a fan. And I think that's why Sepp Kuss was dropped. Yep. I wonder what would have happened if maybe Wout was up there for some sort of other reason than to win the stage, and that things got messed up because of the crash.
We'll talk about the crashes here in a second. Today's show also brought to you by Roka. Roka has invented a completely new class of eyewear. Glasses optimized for performance. No other eyewear brand can keep up with what these guys and gals are doing, and they just keep making it better and better, whether it's on the performance side, the casual side, or the prescription side. They're unbelievably lightweight. You're going to forget they're even on your face. They do have the best optics on the market. No other sunglasses compare. They're crystal clear, fog resistant, scratch resistant as well. And they never slip. So no matter how bad you're sweating, they'll stay on your face. And they're hand built in our hometown of Austin, Texas. The Move listeners get 20% off. Just go to Roka, that's ROKA, Roka.com for 20% off and use the code THEMOVE. And also today, we should almost have sort of a funeral for our friend Michael over at HVM, man. I mean, it was a lot of talk. He took the ketone IQ bath, just like people take ice baths. He came up. He was sitting a little upright on his bike. When I saw the position,
saddle was too high too,
and all the stuff, I said, "Ooh, maybe this guy should stick to running."
I love the way you said, "Hey, why don't we take time and fix your position?" You're like, "No, let's go. We got to roll."
I was right.
Your position looks like shit. We got to go. Let's go. That's the way
we start out. We head out of the studio. We go down Valley, and we hit Cozy Line right away. And we're sort of having a little chit chat, and it started easy. And then all of a sudden, I was like, "All right, let's go, Michael." And I also popped George for the record. But if
anybody follows us on Strava, please take a look at the Cozy Line segment. And I believe I was a second ahead of you, Lance. So you didn't pop me.
I know.
I had a faster time.
I'm gonna have to talk to the engineers over at Strava because I was standing on the top of the climb a minute ahead of you. I do know that. But
I was trying to beat like a ride with our title sponsor.
In all seriousness, he did good.
Think about that.
I was impressed. I expected far worse. So I really did. But just goes to show ketone IQ works. It was cool to also get his insight into the product and best uses for ketone IQ on yesterday's show. So if you didn't hear it, go back and listen to yesterday's show and you're curious about ketone IQ. They did make the first drinkable ketone in 2017. It is their latest innovation on ketones with improved effectiveness, taste, and cost. You can save 30% off your first subscription order of Ketone IQ at hvmn.com/themove. Again, that's hvmn.com/themove. Gets you 30% off. Last one of the day. Our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. And by the way, we have an update to this at the end, so stay tuned. I drink it literally every day, as does this whole crew. It is a single solution that supports my entire body and covers nutritional bases every day. I wanted better gut health, a boost in energy, immune system support. I was kind of sick and tired of taking a whole lot of pills and vitamins, and I wanted a supplement that actually tasted great. So with each daily serving, I'm setting myself up for success with 75 high-quality ingredients that give me key daily nutrients and support all things above. I also like the fact that it's less than $3 a day. Take control of your health for less than $3 a day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D. And here's the update. And 10 free AG1 travel packs. I just told you it's $1 a day. $3 a day. So that's $30 right there. I can even do that math. 10 times 3 is 30. Update to that. 10 free AG1 travel packs. Yes, that's 10. When you purchase, go on over to drinkag1.com/themove. One more time. That's drinkag1.com/themove. Check it out. Take control of your health.
Johan chimed in and he said he agrees with you, Lance. So on sitting behind,
yes,
and letting right away.
I will not be talked out of. There's no reason. And by the way, Pogačar would let him do it. I really believe that. I don't think Pogačar sits up. I don't think they come to a stop. This is like a true match sprint on the track. Although it kind of looks like that the way they're jockeying for position. I think Pogačar goes, okay, you can have my wheel.
I mean, does Pogačar really want to lose his position to his teammate? Probably not. I think you could call his bluff on that.
Tons of crashes today.
All right, just gang up on me, everybody.
Well,
all of a sudden, I mean,
as we
a spectator caused crash, which is even
worse. and I think that's super unfortunate. That one hard to see by the camera angles that they provided, but crashes later on too. I just think, guys, this tour is catching up to people. People are just when it gets hard and you get fatigued over the course. We've now been 2 weeks. And it's just easy to sort of lose focus and get a little cross-eyed. Starting to see more and more crashes.
Yeah, the Israeli Cycling Academy rider crashed into a wall. I guess he was drinking some water. So Sepp Kuss did not look great, although he was still there at the end, but got dropped. He wasn't able to do his normal work because of the crash. Van Hooijdonk apparently had a bad crash as well. So it was a tough day out there. You don't want to crash. It's the worst when you crash this far into the Tour de France. You've made it. Whenever I made it relatively unscathed, I'm sort of knocking on wood every day. But on the occasional time when you crash towards the end, it's the worst because it's harder to recover. Your body's tired, fatigued, and those injuries take more of a toll than they normally do.
Yeah,
we've given a lot of love to Sepp Kuss being such a workhorse. Unfortunate today, but we haven't really given a lot of love to Adam Yates and how important he's been in this tour.
Yeah, and he's just getting better and better.
Amazing.
He's going to be a pivotal piece of the puzzle for Pogačar, that's for sure.
And keeping, I mean, the difference between those two is Adam Yates has won a stage. So for him, I mean, he's
having a hell of a
so he started out going, all right, tour success already, and now he's just following it up with being the true teammate that he is.
What if Pogačar loses this by like 4 seconds? And they're like, oops, maybe we shouldn't have had Adam Yates win that stage on stage one.
And this thing is close. Look, I mean, it's crazy between first and second. We have 10 seconds. You got to go down to 5:21, 5:40, 6:38, 9:60. By the way, Sepp Kuss is in 6th place at 9:16 back. That just shows you how good these two guys are. And as I said yesterday, something is going to happen here that we are going to go back and do a postmortem on some of these stages. And somebody sitting here will have been right. I don't know who yet, but there were days that you look at it and you go, damn, I don't know if I would have done that.
Here's what's going to happen in this final week. Like you mentioned, Spencer, is UAE is going to have to start racing like it's a World Cup because they're going to have to start winning these stages and hope that, get those 10-second time bonuses and hope Jonas doesn't get any time bonuses. So they're going to have to start controlling this race, I believe, in order to get that upper edge.
Do you know tomorrow's a rest day, right?
I know tomorrow's a rest day. I'm just saying the final week.
You know what's after the rest day?
The time trial.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be having a different conversation after that.
These guys are so damn close right now. I don't know.
I don't know.
Look, I don't know either. And I agree that it's very close. I just think Pogačar has the upper hand there.
Well, we saw this Euro time trial, the one Remco won and then left the race with COVID. That was like the tightest time trial I've ever seen in my life. Like first and second, I think was a second.
Yeah.
And the GC guys were so packed. And the same thing on the final time trial in Friuli, where 14-second gap at the end. I think we're headed towards a similar thing. I do you've planted the seed in my head, George. I'm a little worried about Yates with Jumbo, I think that's really going to hurt them. The crash. If Kuss can't support Jonas, what if they do what they did, like 2 climbs out, 3 climbs out? Adam Yates starts to get up the road. That's where I get a little concerned now that you mention it.
Look, Sepp Kuss is a young rider. He's going to recover quickly. But if it were me, I'd say you got the rest day off and you got the time trial off. Let's forget about top 10. We need you for these mountains. You need to recover from this crash. Like, I hate to say it, but I'd love to see him take two rest days if he can.
I think that's important. We've mentioned it on previous tours, and that maybe a lot of our new listeners haven't heard it, but yeah, for those domestiques, like on a time trial, they'll just cruise through it. They don't put down an effort.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to ride. It's relatively hard, but you definitely don't have to go 100%. You can a guy like him can go 75%, cruise in, recover, get a nice ride in, and be ready to roll the next day.
And you can talk to Johan about this on JB Squared, but what Johan would do back in the day is we would always have somebody that was way down in GC that was doing a great job for the team, but also could time trial. He would ask them to go as hard as they can so that they can see the race at true race speed. He would follow. They'd see all that. In a lot of days, I would sit in that team car and follow just how the race unfolds, the curves at speed happen. And then also you're having a fast time trial setting time marks. So you're using those time marks.
That's the first I've ever heard a mention of that. Riding in the car, because you're going out hours later.
Yeah.
Well, like you mentioned, you get the race time checks halfway and maybe one other. But when you have a guy like that, like a really good time trial that's going full gas, then you can get 1K time check, 2K, as many time checks as you want from a very fast rider that usually potentially get top 5, top 10 in the time trial as well.
Exactly. And then, of course, Jonas Vingegaard's going to go last by virtue of having the yellow jersey. So he's, it just depends how many people they want to have out there on the course. You can rely on the races time checks, but you can put more people out there. Tadej Pogačar is going to be 3 minutes ahead of him. So there's a real advantage to knowing how the guy in front of you is doing.
Let's not forget last year's final time trial. Jonas essentially sat up with 2K to go and still finished, I think, second place.
Yeah, behind his teammate.
Yeah. So he was clearly going to win. Was flying, ended up taking it easy, giving his teammate the win. So I'm still thinking advantage is lying on Jonas' shoulders.
Michael Brandt was grilling me about this last night. The leader's jersey is supplied by the race, right?
Yeah.
It's not a team. Are we at all concerned about the skin suit being slow?
Pogačar's wearing a race issue skin suit as well because he's wearing the white jersey. So, I think they've done a lot to try to make those race provided skin suits as fast as possible, but they're both going to be wearing whatever the race has issued them.
Okay. Didn't you make your own skin suits when you were in yellow? Nike made them for you. I feel like I remember you doing that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you did. He didn't wear the race one a couple of years. He wore one that
the
Nike
rules.
made.
The rules clearly were a little different back then. But,
this time trial, if you look at the side, the long profile, it doesn't look that bad. And then if you look at the profile of the last climb, that kind of changed. Like you look at that, you go,
that's pretty. That's milquetoast. Now let's zoom in. Hello. This is the climb up to the finish, and this was, and we talked. Spencer and I talked about this in the preview show. Early in the race, clearly it's made for a time trial bike. But boy, you get to the last 5K, you got 2.5K at 9.4%, and then it keeps kicking up. Johan dug around with all his sources over there, and it sounds like everybody is going to start and finish on a time trial bike. It's not very long if you can take it in its totality. So. And what else I will say is these guys, my sense is they spend a lot of time on their time trial bikes. This isn't like the old days where we're like, all right, we got to ride this thing today. Okay, cool. Dust it off. Like they train a lot on these bikes. They climb on these bikes. The bikes have gotten a lot lighter, a lot stiffer. The bars are much stiffer. They can, it sounds like they're going to stick with the TT bike.
And with a rest day, they get to spend some time on that bike the day before. You don't always get that advantage.
The ones that it matters for. I mean, I think if you're just in 100th place, you'd be chilling on your road bike for sure.
I mean, if Johan says it, it's probably true, but I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know. I think we might see some. I wonder if there's.
I know. Looking back at that profile,
yeah,
I think they're certainly riding time trial bikes tomorrow. Probably riding the course if they can, as many times as possible. Even riding it in the morning like you would do. So I'm sure there'll be spies along the road.
Well, this is a good show to have Spencer on because you've probably analyzed every time trial these two have ever done. So, and I know you guys will go deeper on outcomes.
Johan says the TT bikes are still 8 kilograms, so that's about a kilogram heavier than their road bikes, which is a big deal.
But but making the change, it depends who's, we've seen all kinds of versions of a bike change, but it takes time. And if you mess it up, it takes a lot of time.
Like Geraint Thomas at the Giro.
Yeah,
Don't change your helmet, anybody. I don't know if that was a good idea, but I'm a big proponent of just staying on your TT bike. When this fad came in of changing, I was like, I'm not convinced, but Dumoulin would stand his TT bike for anything. Like if they're going up to Stelvio, Dumoulin's doing that. I think I'm right. I hope I'm right on this, but I think the last time trial of the 2020 Tour de France, Dumoulin rode the final climb on his TT bike and was incredibly slow. Like really cost him a chance at the stage win. I don't have my computer in front of me. Please don't at me if I'm wrong about this, but I think that freaked a lot of teams and riders out. And now you see they always err on the side of changing bikes, even if, as you say, Lance, it can be a slow change if you screw that up.
Yeah. But just it sounds to me like both of you guys are picking Vingegaard for the time trial. Am I hearing that?
Correct. Yep.
Well, I would say whoever wins this time trial wins the Tour. I think it's going to come down to this. And if you're going to press me on it, I probably would say advantage Vingegaard.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to go the other direction on that one.
How much did he beat Pogačar by last year?
It was a healthy margin.
It was a healthy margin, and like I said, he sat up the last 2K. I think, but essentially took it easy.
It was slightly closer in 2021.
Yeah.
He beat Pogačar, who had the lead wrapped up. So maybe he wasn't going all out, but does that sound like Tadej Pogačar? I don't think so. So
the team Jumbo right now is riding like they have the utmost confidence that he's going to beat him in this time trial.
Yeah.
It seems that way.
That's why they do the race. So we can find out.
Stay tuned. It's going to be good.
We could sit here for a few more hours.
Has it ever?
And the propeller head out on this. That's why they actually do the race. And that's why and the winners and all of that are us. And everybody listening to this and watching this show and watching the race. Like, listen, who knows?
Tuesday is going to be a battle. But for all you listeners, all of our viewers, we got a big battle tomorrow, Independence Pass, apparently, 8 a.m. So stay tuned for the results.
I'm starting at 7:30, but
I'm gonna have to postpone my trip home.
Yeah,
I didn't know there's a race at the pass.
That's right.
But has it ever bit Jumbo in the butt being overconfident going to a final time trial on the Tour? I don't think so. I think they got this wrapped up.
Okay.
Oof.
We do have a photo sent. This is not Joan Tolley. This is a listener who sent it to me on Instagram. Brendan Kennedy sent this in.
Oh my God!
Oh wow, that is okay. Now listen,
funny.
Joe. First, a message for Jonah Tolley. You've inspired this whole thing, right? Other people, but I don't know who did this one. But
his name's Brendan. He said he did it he had AI do it.
I can't look at this very long.
Yeah. It is George. For those listening, not watching, is George on a massage table says, "No petting. Don't you know who I am?"
Oh boy.
Did you tell this on the podcast?
Yeah, he did. Yes,
I didn't. I didn't. I think Lance brought it up, but yeah.
No, you said you're a massage connoisseur.
I didn't say that. I said it the night before in private, in confidence.
But there's nothing for these 3 weeks. Nothing is in private.
I see that now. I have to be very careful.
Huh?
Be very careful. So don't start thinking about other things I've said in the evenings. Let's go to the questions, JB.
Did you find that? Did you find that cream for head of HR?
I did find the cream.
All right, Ventum trivia. All right, Ventum has offered up a brand new NS1. Everybody who sends in the correct answers, you go into a daily drawing, and then we're going to be drawing on the final day for that bike. How cool is that? Yesterday's question, just for fun, who was the oldest participant of the Tour and what year did he compete? That answer was Henri Perret, who did the Tour at age 50 in 1904.
So George.
And got 11th. Got 11th.
There were 11 finishers too.
I know, right?
George, there's hope.
There's hope.
Come back.
Absolutely.
He's 5-0 right now.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Right? Today's question is, who holds the longest time span between Tour wins. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Look it up, send it in, email it to trivia@ventumracing.com. All right, good luck. A couple questions real quick. I think we kind of touched on this, but how important is it to have the yellow jersey after the stage to get into the individual time trial on Tuesday as the last rider and to know how your rival is doing? That's from Sasha in Germany.
We talked about it. It's very important. I think it's important. And I've been in well, maybe I haven't been in the other position, but it's I can imagine what it was like in the other position. It's just, and to y'all's point, I mean, this is the kind of thing that's so good for the guy in yellow jersey, so good for Vingegaard, could help him. But I would not want to start 3 minutes ahead of my biggest rival.
And he's got Wout van Aert, who can potentially win the time trial as well. So he'll have all of those time splits throughout the day.
Do you guys think there's not a reverse effect where you go through the first time check, you're slow compared, like, can it work against you getting the time checks of your rival of being last?
Well, if you're slow, then it's going to work against you.
It can.
He'll have time checks from Wout van Aert, I'm guessing every couple K. Yeah. So he'll have several before the actual race time check.
In 2003, when it was so close with Jan and I, we had somebody just after the start. And I want to say, I mean, either a kilometer or two. I think it was even, Johan will know this, so you can ask later, but I think it was a kilometer. He put 6 seconds on me in the first kilometer. And I think Johan said, if I remember correctly, he did not say, hey, you're 6 seconds down already. He sugarcoated it. Still said that, hey, you basically said you're losing a lot of time. Pick it up. But yeah, that's a real blow. But you can also use that. I mean, Tadej Pogačar can use that and still keep some in reserve and still get over that final climb. Yeah, if you want to get out there and put the guy under stress, you can do that. He knows for sure that Vingegaard's getting real time checks.
Yeah.
Lance and George, since you couldn't decide the best technological advancement that has been in cycling, I was wondering if there's some technology in cycling that you may have resisted at first, but now you can't live without, road or mountain. That's from Matt in Denver. That's a good question. What do you have now? You're like, how do we do with?
You know what I resisted for a long time, and of course now we're starting to see it in on the road and on the Pro Tour level. We saw it at the Giro. We saw it here at the Tour. I resisted the one by. I was like, why would I was worried about the gaps and the spacing between gears in the back with the one by. I felt like I had more choices with the two by. I resisted it for a long time. And then when I finally was switched over, I was like, oh, yeah, this is pretty cool. This works all right. I didn't notice the spacing.
I, on the other hand, am very open to new technologies. I embrace it all. And I'll point out another thing that you fought for a long time, a couple of years, was the dropper post on the mountain bike.
I did.
You always made fun of me about using one. Now he's Mr. Dropper all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You were resistant to go full suspension for quite a while, right? On the
yeah, but then these full suspension bikes now they're so racy. Yeah. I mean, they're racing World Cups on these things, and no problem. But it's funny that the two things we talked about were really mountain bike related. Shows you how much, like, if we have a choice, we spend a lot of time on the mountain bike.
Yep.
What about wide tires? Like, if you guys are racing now, what width tires would you be running?
I would ride minimum 28.
Yeah, whatever.
The way they roll, even 30s. I actually ride 30s now, and I feel like they roll really, really well.
Whatever the propeller head say, I would ride. Honestly.
What are they racing on?
Pedersen, most guys do 28. Pedersen has 32s on his Trek, which sounds way too slow, but once you ride them, they feel pretty good.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a question for the future show, we're going to, rest day tomorrow. We're back on Tuesday with the time trial, but send that question in to TheMove@WEDÖ.team. Spencer, good to have you in person for a couple days.
Thanks for having me.
And outcomes. I want to hear you guys really break down this time trial. Who else might show up? I mean, are one of these two GC guys going to win the time trial, or who else might surprise us?
I will say the data says the GC guys will contest it. You rarely get, in the modern era, a time trial specialist winning. But having said that, Wout van Aert won it last year. You could say that's a tainted sample because they set it up where his teammate gifted it to him.
Boy, Wout needs a win. He's been working hard.
That would probably be the wild card I would select, because he's like the one guy in the peloton that can say, I need a win. I'm just going to win today. I'm going to win this time trial. I think that sounds like a good idea.
All right.
Yeah, we shall see. Thanks for tuning in. And again, day off tomorrow. rest day for everybody, except for George and I, because we're going up the pass. But we'll be back on Tuesday for said time trial. So thanks for tuning in. See you Tuesday.